I hadn't told anyone where I was going that night. Not my friends. Not my family. When the hitchhiker looked at me and said, "You want to slow down before the second bend, there's a pothole," I almost drove straight into it anyway. I do late-night courier work sometimes. Not full-time, just whenever I feel like picking up extra cash. It's usually simple stuff. Documents, small packages, nothing illegal, nothing complicated. Drive from point A to point B. No questions. That night, though, the pay was off. Too high for what it was. It was a short route, barely an hour and a half between two small towns. I remember thinking maybe it was urgent medical paperwork or something sensitive. That usually explains the money. Still, I didn't ask. You don't ask questions in this kind of work. It was around 1:30 in the morning when I left. The roads were almost completely empty. Just long stretches of asphalt cutting through farmland and patches of forest. Every now and then you'd pass a dim streetlight or a closed gas station, but mostly it was darkness. The kind that swallows your headlights if you look too far ahead. My GPS was acting up too. Signal kept dropping in and out, which wasn't unusual for that area. I'd driven similar routes before. You learn to rely more on memory than technology out there. Still, I had the directions saved. I knew where I was going. For the first 20 minutes, everything felt normal. Engine humming, tires steady against the road. Just me and the quiet. Then I saw him. At first, I thought it was a signpost or maybe a mailbox. But as I got closer, the shape shifted. A person, standing right on the edge of the road. That alone wasn't normal. People don't walk out there. Not at that time. Not on that stretch. There's nothing around for miles. No houses. No bus stops. No reason to be standing alone in the dark. I slowed down without really thinking about it. And that's when I got a better look at him. He wasn't waving his arms or trying to flag me down aggressively. He just stood there. Still, almost patient. He didn't look injured. No torn clothes. No visible panic. If anything, he looked clean. Too clean for someone who'd supposedly been walking along a rural highway at 1:30 in the morning. I should have kept driving. I know that now. But at the time, it didn't feel like a threat. It felt like someone who needed help. So I pulled over. He walked up to the passenger side and opened the door without hesitation. Didn't ask. Didn't even look surprised that I stopped. Just got in like he already knew I would. "Thanks," he said. That was it. No explanation. No destination. I glanced at him briefly as I pulled back onto the road. Mid-30s maybe. Hard to tell in the dark. Short hair. Neutral expression. Not smiling. Not nervous. "So, where are you headed?" I asked. It's standard. You don't just drive someone without knowing where they're going. He didn't answer right away. Just looked straight ahead through the windshield. Then he said calmly, "You want to slow down before the second bend." I frowned. "What?" "There's a pothole," he continued, "right after the second bend. You won't see it until it's too late." I hadn't told him my route. I hadn't even told him which direction I was heading. At first, I thought maybe he just meant the road in general. Like a warning. But something about the way he said it, it wasn't a suggestion. It sounded specific. I didn't respond. Just kept driving. A few minutes passed. Neither of us said anything. The road stretched out ahead, dark and empty. Then the first bend came. I slowed slightly. More out of curiosity than anything else. Nothing unusual. No pothole. Just a normal curve in the road. Then the second bend approached. I don't know why, but I found myself gripping the steering wheel a little tighter. I slowed down. Not by much. Just enough. And then I saw it. A deep, jagged pothole, right in the middle of my lane. Barely visible until the headlights hit it at the right angle. If I hadn't slowed down, I would have hit it hard. I drove around it slowly. Then glanced at him. He didn't react. Didn't look at me. Just kept staring straight ahead. That was lucky, I said. He didn't respond. That's when something started to feel off. Not dangerous. Not yet. Just off. I told myself it was coincidence. Maybe he'd walked this road before. Maybe he knew it well. That happens. People memorize roads. But then he spoke again. "Take the next left," he said. I looked at him. "What?" "Next left," he repeated. "The main road is blocked ahead. You'll save time." My stomach tightened slightly. I hadn't mentioned the roadblock. But he was right. There was supposed to be construction further ahead. I had planned to take that exact detour. Slowly, I turned the wheel and took the left. That's when I noticed something else. The GPS had completely cut out. The screen was frozen. No signal. No route. He kept talking. "Stay on this road for about 3 minutes," he said. "Then there's a narrow bridge. Slow down before you cross it." I didn't say anything. I just drove. Because at that point, I wasn't sure what else to do. That's when I started paying closer attention to him. He never looked around. Didn't check his phone. Didn't fidget. Didn't even shift in his seat. He just stared forward. Like he was watching something I couldn't see. And every now and then, he'd speak. Not casually. Not like conversation. More like instructions. That's when the uneasiness really started to settle in. Because I realized something. He wasn't asking where I was going. He already knew. And I hadn't told him anything. I didn't say anything for a while after that. I just drove. Hands steady on the wheel, eyes locked on the road, trying to convince myself there was a logical explanation for all of it. People know roads. People memorize routes. People get lucky with guesses. That's what I kept telling myself. But then he spoke again. "There's a narrow bridge ahead," he said quietly. "Slow down before you cross it." I felt a tightness in my chest. Not panic. Not yet. Just pressure. Because I hadn't seen any sign for a bridge. No warning markers. No reflectors. Nothing. And yet, about a minute later, the road narrowed. The guardrails appeared out of nowhere, closing in on both sides. Just like that, there was a small, barely visible bridge stretching over a dark drop I couldn't even see the bottom of. I slowed down instinctively, crossed it carefully. When we reached the other side, I glanced at him again. Still the same. No reaction. No acknowledgement. That's when something strange happened. The radio. It had been playing quietly in the background the whole time. Just some late-night talk show. Nothing important. As soon as I opened my mouth to say something, it cut to static. Not gradually. Not fading. But sharp, sudden static. I flinched slightly and reached for the dial. Turned it. Nothing. Just noise. Then I looked at him. He hadn't moved. But the moment he spoke, "Keep going straight," he said. The static shifted. Not stopped. Shifted. Like it was reacting. I swallowed. At that point I started to feel it. That creeping sensation in your gut. The one that tells you something isn't right, even if you can't explain why. I said carefully, trying to keep my voice steady, "Where exactly are you headed?" He didn't answer immediately. Then, after a few seconds, he said, "Up ahead." That was it. No street name. No town. Just up ahead. I forced a small laugh. I figured that part. No response. Just silence again. The road stretched on. Empty. Endless. Then he spoke again. Most people don't make it past that curve this time of night. That made my stomach drop. I turned slightly toward him. "What do you mean?" He didn't look at me. Didn't even acknowledge the question. Just kept staring ahead. That's when I noticed something I hadn't before. The temperature inside the car. It had dropped. Not drastically. Enough to notice. The air felt colder. Heavier. I adjusted the vents. Turned up the heat. Nothing changed. That's when I decided to test him. "Should I take the next right?" I asked. I knew there was no right turn coming up. I had just checked the map earlier. Without hesitation, he said, "No." Flat. Immediate. "There's nothing there." I didn't respond. My grip tightened on the wheel. Because that confirmed it. He wasn't guessing. He knew. And there was no reason he should know. Not this much. Not this precisely. That's when I started to feel it shift. Before it had just been strange. It felt wrong. Deeply wrong. Like I had picked something up that I wasn't supposed to. The road ahead began to curve slightly. Then more sharply. That's when he spoke again. This is where it happened. My heart skipped. What? I asked. No answer. Silence. The curve tightened ahead of me. A sharp bend, barely visible in the dark. Instinctively, I slowed down. Not because of him. The least, that's what I told myself. As the headlights swept across the road, I saw it. Skid marks. Faint at first. Then clearer. Dark streaks cutting across the asphalt. Then, the guardrail. Broken. Like something had hit it hard and gone through. Debris scattered near the edge. Small pieces of metal. Plus, I felt a chill crawl up my spine. He turned his head, slowly, and looked at me. For the first time. His expression didn't change. No emotion. No urgency. Just calm. You didn't slow down last time. Everything in my body locked up. What? I turned toward him fully, and the seat was empty. Empty. No door opening. No sound. No movement. He was just gone. I slammed on the brakes. The car skidded slightly before stopping. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I looked around frantically. Back seat. For passenger side. Nothing. The door was still closed. I reached over. Touched the handle. It was locked. I don't remember how long I sat there. Seconds. Maybe minutes. Eventually, I forced myself to move. I checked outside. Stepped out into the cold night air. Nothing. Just the road. The broken guardrail. The silence. No footsteps. No figure walking away. No sign that anyone had ever been there. I got back in the car. Hands shaking now. Drove. I didn't stop until I reached the drop-off point. Didn't look back. Didn't turn on the radio. Just drove. I didn't sleep that night. Or the next. Because I couldn't stop thinking about it. The way he spoke. The things he knew. That last sentence. You didn't slow down last time. A few days later, checked my dashcam. I don't know why. Maybe I just wanted proof that it happened. That I wasn't imagining it. The video was clear. Front view. Interior view. I watched the entire drive. Every second. And that's when my stomach dropped for real. The passenger seat was empty. The entire time. No one ever got in. No door ever opened. It was just me. Driving alone. Talking. Reacting. Then I listened to the audio. And I heard it. His voice. Clear as day. Giving directions. Talking to me. I stopped watching after that. I couldn't. A few weeks later, I made the mistake of looking something up. That stretch of road. That exact curve. There had been an accident. 1 year earlier. Same night. Same time. A car lost control on that bend. Went through the guardrail. Didn't survive the fall. The driver died instantly. I found his name. His photo. And I felt that same cold pressure in my chest again. Because it was him. The man I picked up. Same face. Same expression. But that wasn't the worst part. The report mentioned something else. Something they couldn't fully explain. There was evidence that the driver wasn't alone. And they never found the second person. If you thought that was disturbing, the next story is worse. The girl in my back seat didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just leaned forward, close enough that I could feel her breath near my ear, and whispered, "Whatever happens, don't stop the car." I remember the rain first. Not just light rain. Heavy, relentless rain. The kind that turns the road into a sheet of black glass and makes every passing headlight smear across your windshield. I had both hands on the wheel, leaning forward slightly, trying to see past the wipers as they struggled to keep up. It was around 10:45 at night. I was driving home from campus, I'm not the kind of person who picks up strangers. Especially not at night. Especially not on empty roads. That night, something felt different. I'd been on that highway for about 30 minutes already. It's a long stretch between towns, mostly farmland, a few scattered buildings, and the occasional closed gas station that looks like it hasn't been updated since the early 2000s. At that hour, everything was shut down. Dark windows, flickering signs, empty parking lots. And the rain made it worse. It swallowed sound, made everything feel isolated. That's when I saw her. At first, I thought it was just a reflection. The rain does that sometimes, warps shapes, makes shadows look like people. But then she moved, standing on the side of the road, completely still. I slowed down without even thinking about it. She looked young, late teens maybe, soaked from head to toe, hair clinging to her face, clothes darkened by the rain. But what stood out wasn't that she was wet or alone. It was her expression. She looked terrified, not confused, not lost, terrified, like she had just run from something. I hesitated, foot hovering slightly over the brake. Everything in me said keep driving. But then she took a step forward, not into the road, just closer. And in that moment, I made a decision I still think about. I pulled over. She rushed to the passenger side first, then stopped, looked at the door. But for a second, she just stared at it like she was waiting for something. Then she quickly moved to the back door. I unlocked the car. She got in immediately, and the first thing she said, "Lock the doors." No hello. No thank you. Just that. Her voice was low, tense. I hit the lock button without asking questions. The sound of all four doors clicking shut echoed louder than it should have. For a moment, neither of us spoke. I pulled back onto the road. The tires hissed against the wet pavement. Then I glanced in the rearview mirror. She was sitting directly behind me, not looking at me, not looking around, just staring straight ahead. But then, her eyes shifted, toward the back window. She leaned slightly to the side, like she was trying to see something behind us. "Are you okay?" I asked. No answer. "Do you need help? Where are you going?" Still nothing. Then quietly, "Just drive." That was it. No explanation. I felt a small knot form in my stomach. Something about her behavior. It wasn't just fear. It was urgency. Like she believed something was coming. I checked the rearview mirror again. The road behind us was empty. Nothing but darkness and rain. I told myself she was probably just shaken up. Maybe a fight. Maybe a breakdown. Maybe she got stranded. There are explanations for things like this. Then, she leaned forward. Closer this time. And that's when she whispered it. "Whatever happens, don't stop the car." My grip tightened on the wheel. "What do you mean?" I asked. No answer. Just silence. But she looked back again. More urgently this time. Her breathing had changed. Faster. Shallow. "Are you being followed?" I asked. The pause. But yes. My chest tightened. I looked in the mirror again. First, nothing. Far in the distance, headlights. Faint. Barely visible through the rain. I squinted slightly, trying to focus. They flickered, then disappeared. I blinked. Gone. "Did you see that?" I asked. No response. She was still staring behind us, watching, like she expected something to appear again. A few seconds passed. But the headlights came back. Same position. Same distance. There again. My stomach dropped slightly. "That's just another car," I said, more to myself than to her. Even as I said it, I didn't believe it, because something about it felt wrong. The way it appeared, the way it disappeared, and the way she reacted to it. Like she wasn't surprised. Like she already knew it was there. We drove in silence for a while after that. The rain didn't let up. If anything, it got worse. Water streaked across the windshield faster than the wipers could clear it. The road blurred. The edges disappeared into darkness. And every few seconds, I checked the mirror. Sometimes the headlights were there. Sometimes they weren't. But every time they disappeared, she tensed. And every time they came back, she leaned forward slightly, watching, waiting. That's when something else started to bother me. The way she reacted when I slowed down. Not even fully braking, just easing off the gas. Her hand shot forward, gripping the back of my seat. "Don't," she said sharply. It startled me. "I'm just slowing down." "Don't stop," she repeated. Her voice was tighter now, more urgent. "No matter what." I nodded slowly. Now my heart was starting to beat a little faster, because this wasn't just fear anymore. This felt like the rule. Like she knew something I didn't, and breaking that rule would matter. I glanced at her again through the mirror, and for a brief moment, I noticed something. Something that made my stomach drop. Her reflection didn't line up perfectly. Just for a second. Like there was a slight delay. Or something else, overlapping behind her. I blinked. Looked again. It was gone. Just her. Staring back at the road behind us. At first, I thought it was nothing. Then, I noticed something else. This time, I couldn't ignore it. At first, I thought it was just the rain. Distortion. Light bending off the glass. That's what I told myself. Then it happened again. I checked the rearview mirror. For just a fraction of a second, there was something behind her. Not outside the car. Inside. I blinked hard. Looked again. Nothing. Just her. Sitting there. Soaked. Silent. My chest tightened. "Where did you come from?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. No response. "You said someone was following you. Who?" The pause. "I got into the wrong car." My grip on the wheel stiffened. "What do you mean, the wrong car?" She didn't answer right away. But quietly, "They weren't supposed to see me." A cold feeling spread through my stomach. Who wasn't? No answer. Just silence again. Then she leaned back slightly, but her eyes stayed locked on the road behind us. I checked the mirror. The headlights were back. Closer this time. Not by much, but enough to notice. I swallowed. "Listen," I said, trying to sound calm, rational. "If someone's actually following you, we can go to a police station. There's usually one near." "No." The way she said it, immediate. It cut me off completely. "No police." "Why not?" She shook her head slightly. "They'll see me." That didn't make sense. "If you need help, that's exactly where we should." "They'll see me," she repeated. Her voice dropped lower. "And if they see me, it's over." A long silence filled the car. Rain hammered against the roof. The wipers dragged across the windshield in uneven rhythm. I didn't know what to say anymore. Because nothing about this felt normal. Nothing about her felt normal. And yet, I couldn't just stop. Not after what she said. Not after the way she said it. The road ahead stretched on. Endless. Then in the distance, I saw something. Lights. Bright. Stationary. I squinted, trying to make it out through the rain. Reflective signs. Flashing indicators. My stomach dropped. A checkpoint. Police. Right in the middle of the road. I said slowly, "We're coming up on a checkpoint." She froze. Not just tense. Frozen. She leaned forward suddenly, grabbing my arm. Her fingers dug into my sleeve. "If you stop." Her voice cracked slightly. "They'll see me." I felt my pulse spike. "It's just a checkpoint," I said. "They'll just ask a few questions." "No," she whispered. Closer now. Right near my ear again. "If you stop, they'll see me." I hesitated. The car slowed slightly. Not intentionally. Just instinct. Her grip tightened. "Don't," she said. My eyes flicked between the road and the mirror. The headlights behind us were still there. Closer now. And ahead. The checkpoint. Blocking most of the road. I didn't know what to do. Stop and deal with whatever was happening. Or keep going. And trust someone I didn't understand. That's when I looked in the mirror again. And everything changed. For a split second, I didn't just see her. I saw something else. Right behind her. A face. Pressed too close. Smiling. Unnatural. Like it didn't belong there. My entire body went cold. I blinked. And it was gone. Just her. But now she was staring at me through the mirror. For the first time, her expression changed. Not fear. Not panic. Something else. Something wrong. "Don't stop," she said. I didn't think anymore. I pressed the accelerator. The engine roared. The car surged forward. The checkpoint got closer. Faster. I heard shouting. Saw figures moving under the lights. But I didn't slow down. I couldn't. Not after what I saw. Not after that face. I swerved slightly, passing through the side gap before the barriers. The tires slipped on the wet road, but I kept control. Then, we were past it. The lights disappeared behind us. The road opened up again. Empty. I kept driving. Too fast. My heart was pounding. My hands were shaking. Slowly, I looked in the mirror. The back seat was empty. I slammed the brakes. The car skidded slightly before stopping. "No," I whispered. I turned around fully. Nothing. No girl. No movement. Just the seat. Wet. Soaked. Like someone had been sitting there for a long time. But she was gone. The doors were still locked. I checked them. All of them. Still locked. I sat there for a while, trying to breathe, trying to understand what just happened. But nothing made sense. Nothing. I drove the rest of the way home in silence. No music. No radio. Just the sound of the rain. And my own thoughts. The next day, I tried to rationalize it. Fatigue. My mind playing tricks on me. That's what I told myself till I saw it. A post. Shared online. A missing persons report. A girl. Late teens. Getting into a stranger's car. Weeks ago. I felt my chest tighten as I looked at the photo. Because it was her. Same face. Same expression. Same eyes. I scrolled down. Reading the details. Trying to find something that didn't match. Something that proved I was wrong. But everything lined up. I noticed something else. A comment. Someone asking about a police checkpoint on that road. The reply said, "There wasn't one scheduled that night." I stared at that sentence for a long time. Because I knew what I saw. The lights. The officers. The barriers. But according to everything I could find, it was never there. If you thought that was disturbing, the last story is even worse. I picked him up twice. Same road. Same night. Same exact words. The second time, I didn't stop. I've been driving long haul for almost 8 years now. Mostly overnight routes, interstate runs. The kind of work where you get used to being alone for long stretches of time. You learn how to manage it. The silence. The monotony. The endless miles of road that all start to look the same after a while. I'm not the kind of person who scares easily. You can't be doing this job. If every shadow or flicker of light got to you, you wouldn't last a week. But there's one stretch of road I still think about. Even now. It's a desert highway. Empty. No towns nearby. No gas stations. No rest stops for miles. Just asphalt cutting through open land and darkness. My route that night was simple. Drive straight through. No stops. No delays. It was sometime between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning when I hit that stretch. I remember checking the clock because I was ahead of schedule. Everything felt normal. Engine steady. Road clear. Sky completely black. Out there, your headlights don't just illuminate the road. They create your world. Everything beyond them is just gone. That's when I saw him. Standing on the shoulder. At first, I thought it was a trick of the light. A road marker, maybe. Then, he moved. Just slightly. Enough to confirm it. A person. Which didn't make sense. There's nothing out there. No reason for anyone to be walking that road at that hour. I slowed down instinctively. He didn't wave. Didn't signal. Didn't try to get my attention. He just stood there, waiting. That should have been my first warning. I pulled over. I don't know why. Maybe habit. Maybe curiosity. Maybe just the idea that no one should be out there alone. He walked up to the passenger side. Opened the door. Got in. Thanks, he said. His voice was calm. Normal. Not strained. Not desperate. Just polite. I nodded slightly. You are... I asked. He said. That was it. No explanation. No story. I pulled back onto the road. For a few minutes, we drove in silence. I glanced at him occasionally. He looked dry. That's the first thing that stood out. Not sweaty. Not dusty. Just clean. Which didn't make sense. Because if he'd been out there long enough to need a ride, he shouldn't look like that. So where are you headed? I asked. He looked straight ahead. Mile marker 86. I frowned slightly. That's it? He nodded. No extra details. No explanation. Just a number. I checked the road ahead. We were still a good distance from that marker. All right, I said. Shouldn't take long. He didn't respond. And for a while, everything felt normal again. We made small talk. Nothing deep. Weather. Road conditions. Basic stuff. But something about it felt, not what he said, how he said it, the timing, the pauses. Everything felt just slightly rehearsed, like he was following a script. At first, I thought it was just my imagination. But then I noticed something. He kept checking the dashboard clock. Not constantly, but often enough to stand out. Like he was measuring something. How long till we hit 86? He asked. About 20 minutes, I said. He nodded, then went quiet again. A few minutes passed. How long now? I glanced at the clock. 15. Another nod. Another silence. That's when I started to feel it. That same subtle unease. The kind you can't explain. The kind that builds slowly. Like something isn't wrong yet, but it's getting there. When we finally approached mile marker 86, he spoke again. Here is fine. I slowed down. Pulled over. He opened the door. Then looked at me. For the first time. Thanks, he said. Same tone. Same expression. Then he stepped out. And walked into the darkness. No hesitation. No looking back. Just gone. I sat there for a second, watching the empty road. Then I shook it off. Put the truck back in gear. And kept driving. About 40 minutes later, I saw him again. Same road. Same side. Standing in the exact same position. First, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. Fatigue. Lack of sleep. That happens on long drives. As I got closer, the shape didn't change. Didn't shift. Didn't disappear. It stayed. Solid. And when my headlights hit him fully, my stomach dropped. Because it was him. Same face. Same clothes. Standing there. Waiting. Exactly like before. I slowed down. Not because I wanted to. Because something in me needed to confirm it. Needed to be sure. I pulled over. This time, I already knew what he was going to say. I wasn't ready for how accurate that feeling was. I should have driven past him. I know that now. I needed to be sure. Because seeing the same man twice, in the same place, on a road like that, it doesn't make sense. I pulled over, just like before. He walked up to the passenger side. Opened the door. Got in. Thanks, he said. Same tone. Same calm voice. No hesitation. No confusion. Like this was the first time it was happening. I didn't respond. I just stared straight ahead. Waiting. Because I already knew what was coming next. A few seconds passed. You all right? I asked. The moment the words left my mouth, my stomach dropped. Because I hadn't meant to say that. It just came out. Like I'd said it before. Like I was repeating something. He said. Same answer. Same timing. My grip tightened on the wheel. I didn't look at him. Didn't need to. I already knew what he looked like. Where are you headed? I asked. I hadn't planned to say it. It just happened. Mile marker 86. Same response. Exactly the same. Not just the words. The tone. The pause before it. Everything. I felt a cold weight settle in my chest. This wasn't coincidence. This wasn't memory playing tricks on me. This was repetition. Exact. Controlled. And I was part of it. I forced myself to stay quiet after that. No more questions. No more talking. I just drove, waiting to see what would happen. For a while, nothing changed. The road stretched out the same way. The engine hummed. The night stayed still. He spoke. How long till we hit 86? Same question. Same timing. I didn't answer. I just kept driving. A few seconds passed. Then he asked again. How long till we hit 86? There was something different. Not in his voice, but in the way he turned his head slightly, like he was expecting a response. I stayed silent, and that's when it happened. He stopped talking. Mid-pattern. The rhythm broke. For the first time, something changed. So he turned his head and looked at me fully. His expression didn't match the situation. No confusion. No irritation. Awareness. You're not supposed to remember this part. The words hit me like a shock. My hands tightened on the wheel. What? I said. My voice sounded smaller than I expected. He kept staring at me. Not blinking. Not moving. Just watching. You always answer, he said. My chest tightened. Answer what? I asked. He tilted his head slightly. The questions. I felt my heartbeat spike. Why wouldn't I? I said. He didn't respond immediately, but very quietly, because this isn't the part where you notice. Something inside me dropped. I didn't understand what he meant. I understood one thing. This wasn't normal. Not even close. I slammed on the brakes. The truck lurched slightly as it slowed to a stop. The sudden silence was overwhelming. No engine strain. No road noise. Just stillness. I turned to look at him. Fully. The seat was empty. I froze. No door opening. No sound. No movement. He was just gone. I sat there for a long time, trying to process what just happened. My thoughts wouldn't settle. They kept looping. Repeating. Like something was trying to pull me back into that same pattern. That same conversation. Eventually, I forced myself to move. I put the truck back in gear and kept driving. Something felt off. Not just mentally, physically. The road. It didn't feel right anymore. The markers looked familiar. Too familiar. Like I'd passed them already. More than once. I checked the dashboard clock, and my stomach dropped. It had reset. Not completely. Enough. The time didn't match how long I'd been driving. I grabbed my phone, checked the GPS. That's when it got worse. The route was looping. Not visually. Not like a glitch. In the timeline, the path showed overlapping segments. Like I'd driven the same stretch. Twice. Exactly twice. I didn't stop again after that. Didn't slow down. Didn't look at the sides of the road. Because I knew, if I saw him again, I wouldn't pull over. Later, when I finally reached my destination, I checked everything. My logbook, my timestamps, my dashcam footage. What I found still doesn't make sense. There was a 45-minute segment in the recording. It appeared twice. Identical. Same road. Same movements. Same conversation. Same hitchhiker. Down to the smallest detail. Even my voice. Asking the same questions. Getting the same answers. Like it had been copied and played again. I stopped watching after that. I didn't need to see more. Ever since then, every time I drive that route, I check the mile markers. Carefully. Because I don't know anymore if I'm ahead of schedule or if I've already been there before. Sometimes, late at night, when the road is empty, I think about slowing down. Just to check. Just to see if he's standing there again, waiting, in the exact same spot, like he always has been. Like he always will be. The worst part is, I don't know if the next time I see him will be the first time, or the second. If you made it this far, you already know these stories don't leave you easily. Tell me, which one got to you the most? Was it the man who already knew the road? The girl who shouldn't have been in that car? Or the hitchhiker who doesn't stay in the past? Drop your answer in the comments. If you enjoy stories that stay with you long after the video ends, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because the next one might be worse.